hammer it already.
Look, if you just hold it still like I said, Hector, we'd be done.
But I did.
Ow! Fuck my finger, Hector.
My bad.
I hate you.
Okay, enough. Go sit down and get to work.
How can I do both?
Because I said.
Fine. Maybe if you just listen to... My bandana! Maybe if you just listened to me last time and followed the instructions, we wouldn't have to reassemble the swing now, wouldn't we?
I just don't want Bonnie to get hurt.
No, she's not gonna get hurt.
Really?
She's made of fucking rubber! P.S. I like what you've done with the place here. It's really nice. What's this for?
For ambiance.
Okay, well, can I get something to light it with? Alright. You know, Hector, I can use this to break out.
Yeah, like your oily skin.
I'm breaking out too far. Anyways, guys, we're back, and if you're MMA fans or if you're not MMA fans, either way, you're gonna be watching this vlog because I'm the most lit MMA comedy vlog, and you will now know, if you didn't before, there's huge fights this weekend. UFC 230 in Madison Square Gardens, New York. This fight card was actually quickly assembled. Originally, the co-main event, finally, the return of Nate Diaz went to shit as Dustin Poirier pulled out with a fucking hip injury. Kind of like Bonnie from all that action.
Yeah, you got that right.
No, it was a joke. She's made of rubber. She's not real. She can't feel it. First up on the card, we have a middleweight clash between Derek Brunson against a man undefeated, Israel Adesanya. Now freeze! I know what you're thinking. He's 2 in his last 5 fights. While that is correct, his 3 losses have come from former champions Jacare Souza.
What does that mean?
Jacare means crocodile. Alligator? Crocodile. Alligator? And before that, he lost a questionable unanimous decision to the former middleweight kingpin in all of MMA and probably the GOAT, the Muhammad Ali of mixed martial arts, and Anderson the Spider Silva. Just prior to that as well, losing a devastating knockout, but to the current middleweight champion in Robert Whittaker. Let's not just scroll past his wins because he does have wins against former light heavyweight champion Lyoto Machida and knocking the fuck out of Dan Kelly.
Is it good?
Not a big deal. What's great about Derek Brunson is obviously he's a huge specimen. His reach is long. He doesn't like to let it go to the judges, even though sometimes it does. But he has the heart of a champion. He has power in his hands, and he's actually an amazing wrestler. Now, Israel Adesanya, on the other hand, you're looking at him and you're like, wow, he's an undefeated fighter. That's great. But his fights when he came into the UFC have been a little bit, I don't want to say disappointing, but when he came in, he had so much hype behind him.
Oh, can this guy be the next fucking John Jones?
No, he can't. But that's what everybody was saying. His last fight coming off Brad Tavares, who used to be kind of a someone in the division, but really is nobody now. And he beat him by unanimous decision. Before that, he had a split decision to Marvin Vittori.
Who?
No idea. These are fights that Israel should be finishing. My man, you are going up against Derek Brunson. Derek Brunson could very well be fighting at the light heavyweight division. He's an all-star athlete, and let's just face facts. Israel, you are not that big of a person. He's got a lot more weight on you, and he's got something that you've never faced before, wrestling ability. So I don't think this is going to go well for you. Israel's going to try to keep that distance, but Derek Brunson's going to close that gap, get in there strong, and fucking just...
With those?
Well, not with nunchucks. They're illegal. Gonna swoop and get that takedown, press him against the cage if he has to. I think Israel's gonna face a lot of fatigue. We've seen him gas out a little bit. Derek Brunson's gonna take advantage of that in round 2 and end up getting a submission victory. Now let's talk about the next fight on the card. We got Jared Cormier going against one of my personal favorites to this day in David Branch. Now, these fighters have both fought top-tier athletes within the UFC roster. But if we're going to start with Jared Cormier, I'm going to call him Jared.
Mr. Touchy-Feely?
Not from Subway. Jared's had a rough go in his last couple years in the UFC. He's coming off a 2-fight losing streak, but against big names.
Tell them, because I don't give a shit.
Okay, I thought you'd be interested. But his last knockout loss was coming against Dominic Reyes. Now, Dominic Reyes, before he used to be a person to be like,
Oh, who the fuck is this guy? Why are you losing to this athlete?
this guy just beat the hell out of Ovin St. Preux. Dominic Reyes is the real deal. For that, obviously, Jared lost to Jan Blachowicz. However, when we go to his win column, he has a lot of wins. But his win column against guys that you have no idea who they are. But when we look at David Branch, he is coming off a huge knockout win against Thiago Mareta Santos. Before that, obviously, he lost to the previous middleweight champion of both the UFC and Strikeforce in Luke Rockhold. Almost everybody's gonna lose to Luke Rockhold, so that, my friend, is pretty understanding. David Branch, besides being a physical aesthetic specimen, has an amazing cardio tag, where Jared Cormier, I still think he's too big for that division. He's carrying a lot of body fat, and he gasses, in my opinion, quite easily. David Branch is a vet of the game. He's held the belt before in numerous organizations. He's gonna know to go out there, not swing for the fences against somebody who has so much weight behind his punches like Jared. Push the pace, of course, but take it to the later rounds and try to finish finish Jared in the second or third round, which I definitely think he could do. So if I want to put a guess to this, I'm definitely calling David Branch winning by TKO in round 2. Now we're going to talk about the co-main event of the evening. Originally, this fight was supposed to be a rematch between former middleweight champion Luke Rockhold going against former middleweight champion Chris Weidman. But now we have former middleweight champion Chris Weidman going against Jacare Souza. Ronaldo Jacare is not the grappler that Luke Rockhold is. Jacare has probably some of the most devastating, tactical, nastiest jiu-jitsu in the UFC roster. I mean, although Jacare is coming off a loss, he's coming off a loss against the next title contender at the middleweight division and questionably the future middleweight champion of the UFC in Kelvin Gastelum. Now, I know you're thinking,
No, but Kelvin Gastelum lost to Chris Weidman.
MMA math doesn't work, it's stupid.
Yeah, MMA math is stupid.
So are you. But he has experience taking out guys like Vitor Belfort, Timbo, Derek Brunson, Gegard Mousasi, Yushin Okami. He has fought the who's who. And only losing to the very best of the middleweight division. And one of those losses coming against current middleweight champion in Robert Whittaker. When we look at Chris Weidman's resume, Chris Weidman bursted into the scene, taking out everybody. Of course, coming up against Anderson the Spider Silva in their first outing and knocking him out. You got lucky! Because then they fought again for a second time and, well, he won again. Anderson Silva broke his own leg, but whatever. Vitor Belfort, Lyoto Machida. However, his chin was soon tested after against Luke Rockhold when they met, and Luke Rockhold knocking him the f*** out and stealing that middleweight title. Chris Weidman went on to face another 2 devastating losses, Yoel Romero and current Bellator middleweight champion in Gegard Mousasi. But he came off a very, very impressive submission victory against Kelvin Gastelum. Going against Jacare, it's definitely going to be a grappling match. I think Jacare knows of Chris Weidman's power and bait him in for a striking war, but get him to the ground really quickly because Jacare is great off fighting off his back. Obviously, Chris Weidman being that wrestler mentality, he's great on the ground too, but as long as he's on that top position, that's probably going to be something that he wants to stay away from when fighting Jacare. So I think Jacare is going to try to get this to the ground, and I think Chris Weidman is going to try to keep this standing up. All I can do is give my best guess because I'm forced to. These guys got great cardio tags, and they're very smart. I think they're going to have a lot of respect for each other at the very beginning, more of a grappling clinic than anything. I think in the third round, Jacare is going to end up getting the best of him, get the ground, and maybe get his back and pull off another submission victory, sending Chris Weidman way back to the middle of the line. Now the next fight, the huge main event, the huge heavyweight clash, the fight that was literally made in a few weeks' time is current heavyweight champ slash champ because he's also the light heavyweight champ, and Daniel Cormier against new heavyweight contender and Derek the Beast Lewis. Hold up! Didn't Derek Lewis just fight weeks ago at UFC 229? He faced formidable opponent in Alexander Volkov, and well, to be honest, Alexander Volkov was absolutely killing Derek Lewis until Derek Lewis said, no, there's a couple seconds left in this fight. You made a critical error. I'm putting you to fucking rest. And that's one thing we can't deny of Derek Lewis is he has a heart of a fucking champion. Is he crazy with his cardio? No, his cardio's brutal. Is he aesthetically terrifying? No, he's a blob. He's a blob. That's it. In terms of game plan, he just wants to go out there, put his head down, and just swing for the fucking fences. We must note here, when he respects opponent too much, he can back off and be quite fucking boring, to be honest. But let's just face facts. Derek Lewis has got that one-punch knockout power for sure. Almost all his wins, -2, from like Roy Nelson and of course that piece of shit fest against Francis Ngannou, have came by decision. All other fighters are going to sleep. Marcin Tybura, Travis Brown.
He sounds familiar.
No, it's Ronda's bitch.
He's a heavyweight?
Yeah. And Moment, you can never count him out and his power out at all. Now we look on to the champion, Daniel Cormier. Daniel Cormier only has 1 loss on his record. Fine. 2 questionable losses on his record. 1 turned into a no contest because John Jones decided to test positive for steroids like he hasn't been penalized enough. But Daniel Cormier since then rebounded back with a devastating beatdown of Volkan Oezdemir and a crazy knockout of questionably the best UFC heavyweight Stipe Miocic. So I mean, Daniel Cormier's got fucking power too. Obviously aesthetically you look at him and be like, yeah bro, do you need a lift? Yeah motherfucker, he does. This guy's cardio is phenomenal. He can go 25 minutes easily. He has only taken this fight with 3 fucking weeks notice. The money was right. But I do want him to be careful. The reason why he took his fight is because he realized the opponent he was facing, and it was a fight that he wouldn't really have to prepare too much for. I don't want to say that he's going to lack respect in his preparation for Derek Lewis. All he has to do in this fight is seriously watch out for that one bomb and just take him to the ground. Derek Lewis gets taken down in almost every single fight and made look stupid. The difference here is, my friend, if Daniel Cormier gets you down, you are not getting up and you are going to get the beating of a lifetime. And you know this. And I like Derek Lewis because Derek Lewis was the first one to say, no, bro, I don't deserve a title shot. And yet they're still giving him a title shot. So I don't know what's going to happen in this fight. I think it could be very, very, very short of a competition. Daniel Cormier's just going to grab a hold of him and strip him to the ground and wear and tear him. If the Beast makes it to round 2, he is going to be dead. He's going to be tired. Daniel Cormier is just gonna put all his weight on him and just feed him with those shots against the cage and tire Beast the out. Beast has no ground game whatsoever or no wrestling defense whatsoever. He's not gonna be able to pop up and defend himself properly against Daniel Cormier. But that's my vote. Daniel Cormier is gonna knock him the out at the end of round 1 and retain that heavyweight division. Obviously, because I am AKA forever. That's the UFC 230 wrap-up. Thanks for rolling with me once again, and I truly appreciate the love and support from all of you, even if anybody's not even watching, because I'm not sure if they are, because I'm just talking into a camera lens, so I don't even know if anyone knows I'm alive.
Enough!
What?
I need your help. One of the legs are loose.
I thought we already set that up.
I just want her to feel comfortable.
She's not gonna care. She's a blow-up doll.
That's what you think.
Fine.
What are you doing? I need your help.
I'm getting my mask.
What the hell do you need a mask for?
For protection. God.
What a baby.
Asshole.
What?
Hey, maybe you need protection against bombs.
Don't talk about Bonnie.